Disclaimer. This video is made for entertainment purpose only, it doesn't mean to hurt anyone, and don't take it seriously.
Listen,
You hit it too soon.
I don't care. I want to catch the raw moment.
No.
I want to catch the moment in the raw.
You bastard.
I want to.
You should be able to have as many backup quarterbacks as you want.
No shit. They're getting drilled.
You're
They're
pretty
getting-
much gonna suck anyways if you're getting past the first or second round.
Podcast you listen. I love it every time we get on the phone and do Zoom with MC. It always looks like he's doing it on a moving vehicle as he's filming. It's just shaking all over the place.
The last vestige, that's all I had to do was
Yeah.
just clip it. And that's why I always had the problem, because the clip will snap out of the thing because it's got a holder on it, and that's that.
Yeah,
And that's why.
I don't know either. Is your phone plugged in to the microphone? Check that. Check all your audio.
It is not.
I knew it wasn't. You can totally hear it.
It is not. Stereo.
All right. So me podcast you listen.
You hit it too soon.
I don't care. I want to catch the raw moment.
No.
I want to catch the moment in the raw.
You bastard.
I want to catch him saying things that we can use on the social media. So one of the things I pulled up today was just to go from not to football, but doctors warn against social media influencers using poo as face masks as it's a hack. Did you know this?
No.
Yes.
That's disgusting.
It,
Why?
Me
on earth?
podcast you listen baptism
Why on
edition
earth?
to poop as a mask for your face.
2 episodes later, we've devolved into that.
We've come to this. So Brazilian model and beauty influencer Debo Piguito has gone viral after showing her followers that she uses her own poop as a face mask. Yes, that's right. A face mask. And she plugs her nose with this little plug. In the video, she pulls a small container from the fridge that looks to contain some fecal matter, and then she applies it to her face using a small paddle. This comes from Lad Bible on Instagram. She even sticks a peg over her nose for obvious reasons. Dr. Sophie Moen, a dermatologist in London, I don't know why anybody would even have to have a doctor label on there to explain that this is stupid. Of all skincare trends, this is one of the strangest I've ever came across. This is absolutely no specific benefit to your skin using fecal as a face mask. So I thought I'd just start the episode off with stupid human tricks. So to go into things that show how people are doing dumb things, this new kickoff rule for the NFL. If I bring you back,
I've not seen this yet, so I look forward to this.
if I bring you back to episodes many years ago to the XFL kickoff rule, the NFL and everybody else mocks the NFL. Mocks the XFL.
Yeah.
And tells them that this is stupid, and they come up with
Stupid because we didn't think of it.
They come up with ways to say, hey, how does the XFL has dumb rules, which I think the NFL now at this moment explaining the new NFL rule, the XFL came up with this, but the NFL is acting as though they came up with this idea. But back in the day when the XFL rule started, the kickoff happens on the 30-yard line in the XFL. The kicker must kick the ball in the air and in play between the opponent's 20-yard line and the end zone. The player on the kicking team are aligned at the receiving team's 35-yard line, while 10 of the receiving team players are positioned 5 yards away. Only the kicker and the returner may move before the ball is touched by the player playing on the playing field. The kickoff rules consist of 10 players on the kicking team and 10 players on the receiving team. Everyone except the kicker and returner lining up across from each other 5 yards apart. Okay, that's the XFL kickoff rule. Got it? So the NFL was considering it because of the safety measures. So back in August of 2023, the NFL was considering this strategy of making the kickoff safer, and the NFL is willing to potentially borrow from a lesser in quotes, lesser pro football league.
Everything is lesser than the NFL.
Did I say lesser? I meant that little mini XFL team that thinks they're all cool. Those guys,
Bush League.
Yeah, those pieces of shit.
Amateurs
try to call themselves something. They think they're cool with their rules. We'll consider it.
So how dare they?
So in the XFL, the kicker happens to kick on the 30-yard line, which again, we explained that. The NFL is exploring the XFL data regarding the player. The overriding goal is to reduce the potential for concussions, which I agree. I was on a kickoff team myself. I've been blindsided several times. I've seen people get carted off fields because you're running full blast
speed,
at a bunch of dudes turning around, returning. In fact, in the high school all-star game is where I suffered a concussion from this little dude speared me straight in the side of my helmet. Ooh. I have this on video. If I ever put this on digital, I will show it.
Yes, we want to see this.
Flew in head first. Oh. And just I was the wedge. I was the center of the wedge. And you were told to break that wedge as a kickoff person. And that dude did exactly that. He shot me straight in the side of the head. I don't remember getting up and running off the field. All I remember was the coach going, "You good?" And I'm like, "Yeah." And it felt like my head was just inflating inside of my helmet. It was the worst. And afterwards, I had a worst headache ever. So
old Coach JC would have kicked him across the football field once he got up.
dude, I was only 19. I was like the first play of the game.
Don't let me see you at a bar, punk. I'll own you there.
So they're exploring it by shrinking the distance between the opposing players. The XFL rule leaves only 5 yards of space for the players to cover before contact, keeping them from getting to top speed. I totally agree with that. Kickoff players.
So do you feel like someone like Devin Hester, wearing my face, would have had a field day in this new one? Like he would have he'd have nobody's barreling down. He would have taken off.
We're gonna get to that. Yeah. So the NFL has calculated that they think players are running at least 17 miles per hour down the field on kickoff.
Yeah.
So to answer your question, with the new rule is, can you see behind me?
Yeah, I can see.
So the new
kicker and
rule is
the returner can move before he catches it. So the kicker can start running after he kicks it, right?
Yeah. So the kicker has to kick from their 35.
Yeah.
Okay. Once the kick is kicked, there's a zone that they kick it into for returning. It's between the goal line and the 20-yard line. If it doesn't make it to the 20-yard line, it's short.
Yeah.
Then they get the ball on the 30 or 40. We'll look at the rule. If they kick it into the 20 and the goal line and it lands in play and it bounces into the end zone and the team prefers not to return it, then the ball goes to the 20.
So if you squib kick it, it's just got to go within the 20.
It's got to be in the. It's got to be on. It's got to be in the air. If
they can't even squib kick it anymore.
It's got to be in the air. So the point of this is these two dudes, this line and this line, is they're 5 yards apart, and so
can't get any speed to hit anybody.
And nobody can move. Nobody can move until they catch it. So the trick is the returning team has to either have a call or they got to turn around and look because they can't see it. The kickoff team can see it.
Yeah, they don't know where he's running.
Well, they
Yeah.
don't even know if he caught it yet or not. Right?
Yeah.
They're gonna move based off of, so they're almost playing like a defensive player. They're moving.
Yeah. So they can't move until they move.
Right.
Right.
So they're moving
Yeah.
off of their movement, like a defensive lineman would move off of lineman, off the ball movement or something.
Yeah.
That's the best way for this kickoff return team to gauge whether or not he caught it, is once everybody moves. And so
Yeah.
right now, the NFL is still new to this. See, the kicker is really far back. If you have an athletic kicker who can run faster and get down there
Yeah.
before they're caught it, then that guy shouldn't be kicking. So I watched this during the Hall of Fame game, and it was with your Bears, and
Yeah.
it's exactly like the the XFL. It's pretty much the same. The only thing I think that's different is you can have 2 returners in the back instead of 1, and it's pretty much the same. So going through the rule, let me see if I can find it. The play in question came late in the fall. Kansas City, that was just them explaining it. So I thought I had it pulled up here. But anyways, if they kick it in the end zone, so for a standard kickoff, the ball is kicked from the 35 with the 10 kickoff coverage players lined up on the opposing 40. The return team will have at least 9 blockers lined up in the setup zone between the 30 and 35-yard line, cutting down on high-speed collisions. Only the kicker and the 2 returners are allowed to move. It's different than the XFLs until the ball hits the ground or is touched by a returner inside the 20. They have been only 24 touchbacks so far this preseason on an average starting field. They want returns. So the NFL wants there to be returns.
Yeah.
So that's
I agree with that. It's pretty boring without them.
Right. And so
yeah. It's a pointless play. You might as well throw the fucking ball on the 20 then and start every drive from that if you're not going to let them kick.
Well, you're getting kickers now who can boot the shit out of it. They kick it out of the end zone. So one of the questions, and you said you haven't seen this yet, one of the questions is now coming up. Do we need kickers to kick off the ball? Do we want to put an extra defender who's going to make tackles? Because realistically, it's 10 versus 11 out there, because your kickers are never the most physical. What do you call it? They're not the dudes who go out there and tackle.
Yeah, he's a last resort if the kicker is going for that touchdown. You know, he's like trying to trip him up. Yeah. And usually he gets burned because the guy's way faster and got way more moves than a kicker could, unless he was, squashed into a spot where the kicker can, get him or something or clip him. He really has no shot against a returner at full speed.
Well, I mean, he's not. You don't ever see kickers. Kickers aren't recruited for their tackling. Kickers aren't recruited for their massive speed. So why would you have? You can probably find someone who's going to be able to kick 60 yards and have a return.
So you said it's being kicked off from the 35-yard line now?
The 30, I thought.
The 30? And where was it being kicked off before? The 20?
No. It's always been kicked from I want to say the 35-yard line for NFL.
So 35.
40, I think it's 40 for, let me see. They're kicking it from the 35. They used to kick it from the 45. Or the
what?
No,
that can't
NFL.
Right.
NFL is further back. So
I
want to say what do you call it? In high school, I think they kick it from the 40. And so in the NFL, I think they kick it from the 35. But again,
so now
there's
them back to the 30.
No, they're on the 35. There's no change in where the ball's being kicked from. The change is that they need to kick it within the zone of the 20 and the goal line. Like they need to have it in the air and land in that area. Does that make sense?
Because if they kick it out, it goes to where? To 30?
They kick it out. If they kick it out, it goes to the 40. If you kick it out of bounds, it goes to the 40. Yeah.
Jeez. So you need you need a maestro, a guy who can kick it high and place it in there. And I mean, the Bears guy is actually pretty good. I'm forgetting his name now because we drafted him. So yeah, you need like an expert who can just place it wherever he wants it. Because if he could get it in within that, less than 10 yard, 10 to goal line, that's perfect. You want it to hit there. And
so they can, but you can
yeah,
still,
I mean,
you
a guy
can,
will have to pick it up there.
in kickoff teams, like in kickoff, a lot of people don't know this, but on a kickoff, you can fair catch it. Anybody can fair catch it on a kickoff return back before this new rule.
Yeah.
So now you can fair catch it still in the 20.
Yeah.
Get it on the 20, but it has to make it in between the 20 and the goal line or it doesn't count.
So now, if it hits the 5 and then goes into the end zone for some reason,
then it's like a touchback.
So then it goes to the 20.
Yeah. If it doesn't make it all the way to the 20, like it touches the ground early or something,
goes to the 30, you said,
then
right?
it goes, I want to say it goes to the 40. I'm trying to find that rule in here, but there's really no benefit.
It would make sense for that to go to the 40, but a touchback to go to the 30.
Here's the rule. The kicker will kick from the 35-yard line. The other 10 members, blah, 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 blah. Only the kicker and returner can move. The ball will be placed on the 30-yard line if it lands in the end zone. So if it gets kicked all the way to the end zone.
Yeah, so that makes sense. Not the 40, like you were saying. Yeah, the 30 would make sense.
If the ball lands inside the 20-yard line and rolls in the end zone, then it must be returned or down. That'll be a 20-yard line. If the kick fails to reach the landing zone, so they pooch it and doesn't reach the 20 and the goal, or it goes out of bounds, then they take it over at the 40-yard line.
Also, if you kick it out of bounds trying to go into the corner, it goes to the 40. Wow.
That's always been that way, though. That's always.
Yeah.
So
to the 40?
To the 40.
So on a kickoff, if you kick it out of bounds, I don't remember that going to the 40. How long has that been in the place?
Long as I've been coaching.
Wow.
I've always gone to the 40.
So if you kick it into and it just goes sailing and goes.
So here's the benefit of kicking the ball out of bounds. No return. They get the ball in the 40. Trying to kick it in the corner, they call it coffin corner.
Yeah.
You try to kick it to let it bounce around there because a lot of times people will wait to see if it hits the goal line or hits the edge. There's no benefit of that if you can't get it to bounce into the play or go into.
Well, yeah, because if it sails and goes out of bounds, it's going to the 40.
So yeah. So
that's scary.
What we're getting out of this whole thing is that they want them to return. They want to return it. So after
the opposite of last year.
Right. They killed it last year. So that's the big discussion is a lot of these football teams are saying aren't showing their true returns yet. They're not showing how they're going to do returns because, again, it's real tricky because you're only 5 yards apart. You're no different than punt. You're no different than it's pretty much a punt. It's a punt.
Yeah.
So if you're a punt return team, you're probably going to be a kickoff return team at this point. There's no reason to have speed on it because you're not the guys on the front line of the kicking team are your speed guys and tacklers, but they don't need to be like kickoff team dudes where you have more speed than you do actually like physicality.
You need tacklers here because you don't want the guy to get past you.
Yeah, you need a punt return team and a punt team. That's pretty much the difference in this. So it's no different than that. I agree. The limit the space that someone can get hurt. This is great. Still, the factor is the dude running the ball could suffer an injury because he might just try to bulldoze his way through a line, or he might run, turn, and just get blindsided. But I think it's going to limit a lot of concussions and a lot of injuries, a lot of knee injuries from cutting back and forth, people spreading out. That's the biggest thing about kickoff teams. You're not going to have that Devin Hester running a return anymore that looks awesome because he's going to run into traffic. It's no
line.
It's not going to be spread out like it is anymore. And you're not going to be able to trick and do like different kickoff returns where you can cross and everybody's crossing from that close in front of each other. it's the same as if you're a front line of a kickoff return team, you're the big dudes, and then you just pick up the first 5 guys running through. So this is what they're finding out, is that like, what do we really need a kicker? And I kind of thought about that, and I thought, no, you don't need a kicker for this, because that dude doesn't matter anymore. Anybody could kick it 10, 20, 30, 40 yards, dude. They're kicking
Well,
it.
like
yards.
you said, you need a punter.
You don't even need that. I bet you one of your linemen could probably toe kick it 40 yards. Somebody could, a corner, someone who's a defensive player could probably kick it 40 yards.
I don't know if you would want them kicking the ball.
Who cares?
Like if you got a finesse guy, yeah, obviously you'd want to.
Why do I want to pay some kicker that I don't need anymore to boot it out of the end zone? Doesn't do me any good. It's an automatic 30-yard return if he kicks it through the end zone. So I'm losing. Yeah, but I'm losing you 10 want more yards.
You want a specialist who could kick it, bounce, and get it within the 10.
But he's got to kick it in the air. He's got to kick it in the air, and you have 2 returners. It doesn't really make. It's not really. It's not in the favor anymore of the kicking team. So here's from Twitter, NFL, showing one of the kickoff teams. Looks like the Jaguars and the Chiefs. You can see them lined up. They have a little bit of a different line. Obviously, there's some changes to the rule. You can have 2 other guys, I guess, further back from the 5-yard line. Nobody can move again. No one can move until the ball's kicked. You got the 2 returners.
Okay.
Let me turn off the sound. All right. So you see them going. Everybody moves right there. So as the ball's getting caught right here.
So are both returners, they're assuming that their eyesight is good enough where no returner can fake catch it and start running to throw them off right away. So both return, one's going to block immediately.
Well, that's what he's doing. So he's running to block, just like punt. It's just like punt. When you have 2 punt returners, the NFL doesn't usually do that a whole lot, but like in high school, you have 2 guys. It's because you're trying to fool. Like you could, right out of this right here, you could run a reverse. If they really wanted to do it, they could run a reverse. So the ball's coming down. Everybody moves. Now the kicking, the return team right here, you can see my hand. The return team right here is waiting, and then they see them catch it. So now they all have to move. Yeah. Unfortunately, it kind of sucks still for the return team because they're just flat-footed, right? And they're just accepting the kicking team at this point to make a block. They're trying to guide them somewhere. So there they are. Now there's a guy left uncovered to the right of you, left of your screen. There's a guy at the very bottom of the screen who's left no one to block, right?
So there he is. Yeah.
So right there, they try to pick him up. So again, it does have potential, but everybody there's not enough room to spread out yet. So 93 would have made a block right there. My God, he's let that guy go. See, that guy just got this is his walking papers right here.
So he really doesn't have a whole lot of room to juke right there because
he does have a lane. He does have a lane. He does have one lane that he can use right here. He could run through that lane.
Yeah.
But he's not going to get now. Now what? Now
not going to get to that in time.
If he would have put on the brakes a little sooner, maybe back here.
Yeah, and took off the other way.
Went this way. There's blocking right here. And so then he's wide open. But he kind of came to this lane. So it kind of looks like they're positioning themselves to block right here because they're forming like a wall right there to get a lane. But it's wide open to the right. Now, if I was a coach, I'd start thinking of ways you can reverse this. Because if one of these dudes, these guys on the line right here, could have came back, and this dude's running straight up. So if this guy, let me see if I can get a.
And the only one who could take
this guy was running,
be another returner. You couldn't. He's the only one.
Put a lineman on there.
Yeah.
So this guy's running, and if there was a guy right here, and he was acting like he was going to block, and then he just took it on the handoff and tried to make something out of it, you could.
Okay, so they could do that.
Yeah,
They could do anything.
they can do anything.
Huh. Yeah, I mean, yeah, you would have to start getting creative then.
Oh,
But it's so unpredictable. That's a different one.
so he did make something happen,
Oh shit, that's the same play. Fuck, he bounced off of somebody.
but it's bad
Did a couple
tackling.
moves.
So
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
not right here. It's everybody being pushed in. Bad tackling, bad tackling, bad
Oh
tackling.
yeah, that guy
bad
way on
tackling.
the number, what was he, 54 or whatever? Yeah, he just
Right
he
here.
flubbed that.
Right,
Yeah, right there, 50,
right.
51 or 54.
43. 43 has a sign right here. 43. That guy 27 missed it. 43 over pursues. 26 misses. 27's flat footed. Yeah, it all is bad. So I see it being a lot more exciting. It'd be like a punt return. I can see punt returns are exciting. So I could see it, and it's forcing them to return the ball now. So that's cool. The rule rule I don't like, the one rule I don't like out of this whole thing is they can't do onside kicks anymore unless they announce it. And it can only be in the fourth quarter, and it can only be if you're losing.
What?
Yeah. So that sucks. To me, that's not.
So you have to be losing, you have to announce it, and it has to be in the fourth quarter.
So
you can't even do it at the end of the second quarter.
Right. So you can't come out like some of these teams do and be like, hey, let's do an onside kick to start the game to bullshit to what do you call it? To try to get the ball real
Trick
quick.
them. Yeah.
So the player on the kickoff teams are no longer able to run. You got that, blah, blah, blah. And then it basically says the receiving zone. And then I can't see it in here, but it does say you're not allowed to make an onside. So they have to announce they're getting the onside kick. It's in the fourth quarter only if you're losing.
See, it's the thing. If you have to announce it, what the hell does it matter when you're quote unquote allowed to do it? If you're giving them a warning that you're doing it, who cares?
Yeah. So it's only legal. It's illegal any other time. It's only if you're losing, and they must announce it so the other team can prepare for it. So again, you would just be taking your chances that your kicker has a wicked curveball that he could kick off the ground to do something. So that part I don't like, because I like the idea. It's like a chess match sometimes, right?
Yeah.
Kind of like the idea that sometimes it creates this they're not expecting it, or they didn't think.
Yeah, unpredictability.
You kick you score right away, and then you come in, you kick an onside kick. That really does screw a lot of psyches out of a team. A team can be like, whoa, now they're going to try to score again, and they just got the ball on R30. I mean,
they can't do it because they might be winning, and they'd have to announce it,
and they have to wait till the fourth quarter. So it's just. I wish they would take away the announcement. Dumb. The announcement part is stupid, right?
Yeah.
Just have them line up and do an
onside kick. Hey guys,
kick.
We're doing an onside kick.
Okay, everybody, prepare yourself. We're doing an onside kick because
we're going to try to trick you now.
Well, because they took away because of injuries. They took away the onside kick where you drove it into the ground and then it bounces up real high because too many people were flying up and getting hurt. They took away the I think it's the one where it's like a wedge where you run as a group and you just maul people over. But now you're going to announce it. This is stupid. This just makes it.
Now we're going to wrap every running back in pillows, and they're going to run. So they're the most injured players. So we want to save them for their contracts.
Well, did you see that they're wearing those you're allowed to wear those Guardian hats now and helmets? Have you seen those?
No, I haven't seen those.
So the players wear protective gear while they're practicing, and they're called Guardians, and they look like kind of like a padded helmet that you put over the top of your helmet. I know you've probably seen it. You had to have seen them. But anyways, they said that they players want to wear these now. They want to wear these during games. And yesterday during the Colts game, one of the players was wearing one of these Guardian helmets. And it's not, it's still, they still have their helmet on, but it looks like a rugby pad. Have you seen this before?
Yeah, that looks familiar. So that's over the helmet?
Yeah. So back in the day when they first came out with these, they were made for linemen because linemen heads, they hit their heads more than any other player on the team. They're always smashing.
Yeah.
All the time. They're just, you know, so they came up with these Guardian pads for practices because linemen were getting banged up in the heads constantly over and over and over again. So now they've allowed them to wear these during games. And I don't think it's bad, but there's so many.
Why not?
There's so many helmets out there. I mean, pretty soon your quarterback's going to have flags and you're not going to be allowed to. I mean, they got rid of that other tackling, the hip tackling too. You heard about that, right?
No, hip tackling.
Hip tackling. So what it is when they tackle somebody and they basically drag them down by falling down on the back of their legs. They did it last year.
Yeah.
And basically it's like a hip drop. So I grab a guy from behind.
Because you can snap. Because you can, like, it's a snap. It's like a snap suplex, right?
Kind of. So I grab a guy from behind and then I fall down with him. Like I drag him down.
Yeah. So that's illegal now.
You can't. Well, it was illegal last year, but they really are pushing it this year. Last year, they were having a real hard time enforcing it because it was like, how do we enforce hip tackling? And now it's like a big deal this year. Like they're really enforcing it. And again, it's for the player's safety because it breaks ankles and basically it's similar to a horse collar, but without grabbing the back.
So if you're going to do that, you should then have more in the grasp rule then to protect them then. Because
anybody. So
I mean, really, because that's not fair. I mean, that's really not fair to the guy trying to tackle him. Like, how is he's kind of trying to protect the guy that he's been trained all of his life to just demolish and bring to the ground. Like, you got to just have an in the grasp rule to protect him then, because.
Well, part of it was,
I mean, protect them so he doesn't bust away from them. I mean, because he can't drag him down. What the hell is he going to do?
I don't know. I mean,
how does he even tackle them legally now?
They got to wrap their legs up. So in the 2024 is you can't do hip drop tackling, which I explained. You grab a guy from behind the waist, and if you drop to the ground, that's illegal. They have the XFL style of kicking. That they have a third challenge this year. If you win one of your challenges, you get a third one. I always thought that was already a rule, but so now if a coach wins one of his challenges, he gets an extra one. I always thought that you kept them anyways. I don't know why they did away with that one. I always thought you kept your challenges if you won.
Oh, you do.
But
you do, right?
No, you don't. You lose them either way. So this year they gave him a third one. So if you win one, you get an extra one.
That's like baseball. If they lose them, they obviously lost that challenge. But they win it, then they keep it. It's like, you successfully challenged. Yeah.
So they've expanded the use of instant replay. I think they're doing more instant replay, which will slow down the freaking game.
How do they do that? Weren't they basically instant replaying everything anyways?
They had like a time frame. They had a time frame on reviewing.
Yeah.
I think they expanded the use of it, which means they can use it more often remember when they tried to do it for a receiver, what was it called? Pass interference. That was the dumbest idea to do. It slowed the game down so much, dude. So
they don't give a fuck. It's more advertising dollars for their commercials, so they don't give a shit.
I do when I want to watch it.
Well, you do, but because they're a fan watching it, but they don't give a fuck. They don't care if it's a 4-hour game.
Other thing they said is enforcement of a major foul by the offensive prior to a challenge of possession in a situation where there are fouls by both teams. I don't know what that even means. They've expanded the trade deadline for one more week. Unlimited designated to return players during playoffs. So I guess you can have unlimited designated to return players. I don't know what the hell that even means. And then emergency quarterbacks. I'm assuming they must have an
Oh
emergency
yeah, I heard
quarterback
about
rule,
that.
so they could
Yeah,
have
I heard
someone on the
about
back,
that.
someone in the back, so you can carry
Yeah.
you can carry a third quarterback or a fourth quarterback just in case. Because who was it? Which team was it that one year that ran out of quarterbacks and they had to use Welker or whatever as a quarterback? Was it the Patriots?
Yeah. No, so it would, yeah, I think it was. It would make sense to just have your practice squad quarterback, which broadly most teams have one, obviously.
Travel.
Just have him travel with the team all the time. And then
Yeah.
he's the one that if somebody gets hurt, yeah, that makes
I don't
sense.
understand why we give a shit. Why do we care how many players they have on the sideline?
Yeah, right.
Yeah. Obviously, you're playing your best 11. We're all playing our best 11. It's not like you did this because you have extra that makes a difference. I think it's just a matter of, hey, I got a backup quarterback because my second string quarterback's complaining about a groin injury, and my third string quarterback is horrible. So I need another.
So pretty
guy.
much this is what I had originally heard. So pretty much you could, in theory, make your second quarterback, your backup,
the kicker,
inactive for the game, right? So then he would be the guy that if your guy gets knocked out, he gets to come in so you could suit up another player, right?
I guess.
Couldn't you conceivably do that?
Yes. I don't know.
Because if you're going up thinking, hey, we're gonna have the starter playing the whole game, then yeah, which most teams would once the season starts.
Yeah, I don't even know. Like I said,
why wouldn't you do that? It's an active player, except that he's an emergency quarterback.
Yeah.
Then you could keep an extra defensive guy. You could, suit up an extra, offensive guy who's not a quarterback who would just be holding a clipboard anyways.
True. I don't know.
That's what I first heard. That could be a creative way to get around that.
Wow. I still don't understand why it's a big deal to have quarterbacks just have as many players you want on the sideline. Really don't. So, all right.
You should be able to have as many backup quarterbacks as you want.
No shit. They're getting drilled.
You're pretty much going to suck anyways if you're getting past the first or second one. It's just going to be a bum anyways.
All right. As we end this session of Me Podcast, You Listen, the football edition, I wanted to end with something funny for you. And it's cat videos.
What the fuck is going on?
Yeah, we're just gonna go straight. You want the blind kid running around again?
That seems apropos.
So we're gonna go to cat videos. And
tackling ones.
Did you hear the wrestling?
Yeah, was that Jim Ross?
Maybe.
So family,
cat videos.
Oh wow. I've seen that one. That's a football move there. Look at a cat's face.
Hey, leave her alone. Oh, baby. Oh my God, are you okay? Are you okay?
Ouch.
Reggie, don't eat him.
I don't know why these are funny, MC, but I watch these all the time.
I know.
Cat videos.
Is he just feeding him?
Yeah.
Those little small dogs get feisty. Watch.
Yeah, they get their asses picked on.
Yeah.
This cat floating is my favorite. How a cat could come from the floor, just instantly fly up in the air.
That just floats.
Yeah, that cat floated like he just went. Like he just he didn't look like he jumped at all.
That one that jumps over the railing from the second store, like, and the people are like, "Wow!" and the cat just goes all the way down to the second level. It's like, holy shit!
Cats are amazing. All
Yes,
right, Me
they are.
Podcast, You Listen. Make sure you watch the Raiders games this week because you're going to see a team that's going to announce that O'Connell's going to be their starting quarterback, and the Bears are going to have a rookie this year. So I'm sorry, MC, but you're going to suck. So
we got the number one pick. The hell are you talking about?
He didn't look that good. So that's what the hell I'm talking about. He looked like a rookie.
Do you even know what he's going to look like?
The expectations. He was just out there. Oh, you hung up. He was just out there playing. So, anyways, me podcast, you listen. MC hung up the phone, but the Raiders are the best team out there. Please subscribe, check us out, and we will catch you later. Thanks for listening and watching.